All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. It is Monday, 9:31 p.m. Of course, it's 9:31 because of I don't even need to say it, to be honest.
I was just live. I was just live like a minute ago, and I said, "Don't believe what this guy has to say." My co-hosts are about to. The defamation scandal on this podcast is insane. Okay,
it was literally 8:31, and you weren't here.
I was here. I was backstage. Amit didn't put me forward.
Canadian time must function different than American time. I don't know. You guys were late to your independence, so. And if you think about it, pretty much everything is late launching in Canada, so it must be your country. Happy Canada Day, right?
Yeah. All right, let's get this show started.
Anyway, we're live. We're here. We got a lot to talk about. Hoodie earnings will take up the majority of this episode today. I'm sure there's some other tech topics that we'll get through, but Q2 is next Wednesday. So we're going to do some predictions, and I think we all have some conflicting numbers that we'll try to talk and reason through. So hopefully this will be a valuable episode for those that are invested in Robinhood to see what you expect. Before we get into that, though, I mean, we haven't talked since we hit 100 on Monday, and since then we got to 113.50. I guess just raw take from you guys. How does it feel like for Hoodie cracking these levels? I know we're down 5% today, but Roy, your thoughts on this momentum?
Yeah, I mean, like we asked this 8 months ago, I think. Well, maybe not 8 months ago, but 4 or 5 months ago, we're like, hey, is it possible that Hood breaks all-time highs? And we said, yeah, it's going to go past 85, very likely, as long as the markets were intact, and they are. And then we also talked and discussed whether getting to triple digits, and we're like, yeah, it's pretty reasonable. It's not too crazy. And here it's not cheap, but it doesn't feel ridiculously unsubstantiated, overvalued. And in fact, honestly, with what they're launching, what they're rolling out, it's just a compelling company just for the next decade. And I think that's the biggest shift, is that the market is, and the street is actually beginning to understand Robinhood as, Devin Ryan called it a generational company, but there's others that may not have Robinhood quite in that tier, but they're like, man, there is a long tail for this company.
Tanner, your perspective on cracking through 110 and kind of holding at least 100 so far?
Yeah, I mean, pretty insane. Overall, it's funny that the dip that's being bought right now is 105. It's like, oh my gosh, we're getting it on a sale, and it's just still, insanely high. But what's funny about Robinhood is it just doesn't feel like it's like I'm not scared at all. Like I can't express how much I'm comfortable at these prices, and Amit, you've been adding a lot at these levels. And I just think yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Like I completely get it.
Yeah, I do too. And this is a breakdown of my portfolio. Robinhood is actually my number one holding. I actually didn't think that going in. I'm like, yeah, it's up there, but nope, number one. Even after today, it's still number one. So, really honestly, them saying that they were going to launch and put everything on chain, their entire company on chain, and just beginning to think about what that means, the significance, what they can do that helps, internally, but also helps as far as building an ecosystem. I'm like, yeah, this is a generational company. I see it. I agree. It's not just a great company. It's not just an excellent company. So I would love if we get an actual pullback, 105. I'll add more. It's my number one position. I'll add to it. And I don't think you're crazy here for adding him in.
Yeah, I think cracking 113, 110 last week was pretty exciting. And one of the reasons we might have cracked it, and we kind of found out towards the end of the day on Friday, is because a spot in the S&P 500 opened up. And before we get into our Q2 earnings, I think we should kind of discuss. Tanner's already.
I actually forgot that this was this week. I forgot that we had to talk about this.
Oh, man.
They picked block and blocked us into getting into the S&P. Tanner, what was your take?
I mean, yeah, you pulled up my tweet. I was pissed, dude. I couldn't believe what was going on. And then I said, I literally name one reason why this is a better decision. And everyone that said that was talking about its valuation. And I think that that's a silly thing to bring up whenever you're trying to pick the top 500 businesses in the S&P 500. You don't go bargain shopping for cheap companies. Like, are we buying value plays or are we buying the most generational businesses in America? So am I mad that like Block is not going to be a successful business? No, I think that they're a fine company. But like right here, why not IBKR if you want a healthy business? Some people said, you know, oh, well, they're trying to avoid volatility. IBKR and Hood are like levered bets on the stock market, so they don't want to add those. But like
Block isn't volatile. Oh, okay.
No, well, I agree with that as well. But like, isn't IBKR the largest weighting in the S&P 600 or 400?
It may be. Yeah, Hood has a larger market cap. AppLovin does as well. Block is deserving, but yeah, again, IBKR. If they got in, I'd be like, yeah, okay, I get it. They want a more mature company. Makes sense. I wouldn't agree with it, but I would have gotten it. If they said AppLovin, I'm like, okay, great. Good company. Block was the third best fintech, which I mean, it's fine, but it feels at this point like that somebody needs to email them and say, hey, by the way, Robinhood is a publicly traded company. Just heads up. Oh, the other argument that was great, Tanner, and you responded to this too, is like, oh, look at all this revenue that Block generates.
Yeah.
Do not understand how sketchy. Honestly, I just think it's sketchy. I do. But how sketchy that revenue really is. Just because every single bit of Bitcoin that they sell or transaction for a Bitcoin, they regard that as revenue. So if
wait, what?
Yeah.
The total cost of Bitcoin is what they mark as revenue.
Hold on. So if they transact 5 billion worth of Bitcoin on Cash App, that's 5 billion in revenue.
5 billion in revenue.
How is that legal by any sense?
Dude, it's why people look at the company and they're like, it's at a 1 or 2 times price to sales. It's like, yeah, because you're not like, so honestly, Jack and Block or like the whole company knows this as well. And so they do revenue and revenue excluding Bitcoin. So you have to do a little bit of calculation as well. But whenever you look at it through SEC or any data aggregator or anything that people like to pull up and go, oh, look at this company. It just shows you revenue. So you see $25 billion in revenue for this, $60 billion company or however big they are. And it's not real at all. Like 80 or 70% of it is just Bitcoin transactions. So if someone buys 1 Bitcoin, they made $100,000 in revenue. It's not true.
Yeah. It's when I first was looking into Block, I was like, no, I've got to be looking at this wrong. And I was shocked. I'm like, okay. And it's funny because Block gets compared to a lot of other fintechs that I'm in and we're all in or have been interested in the past. And I'm like, the number one thing that people love to compare is that top line revenue. I'm like, guys, it's not what you think it is. Now, gross profit is, you can kind of use it, although it's not. It's a weird measure and it's not an apples for apples measure. Even like the way that they measure goodwill, like on their balance sheet, it's weird. I don't know. Like I'm not saying it's sketchy or nefarious. I think the Hindenburg report, was ridiculous, from way back in the day, the short report.
It's hilarious that's way back in the day because that feels like now.
It doesn't. Oh, you reminded me of one other thing. The other argument that I saw, although this was not public, so I'm not going to say who said it, was like, well, Block is safer as far as regulation. They don't really get sued. Yeah, about that. They've had lawsuit after lawsuit, massive fines as Biden administration, people were out the door, and some new lawsuits also this year with
anti-money laundering schemes.
And to be fair, I don't think Block is sketchy. I don't think they're a bad company. I actually think they're a good company and they are deserving. But it just, the arguments that people are using to justify this, I don't know why they picked Block. I will say Block makes more sense than Williams-Sonoma.
I agree with that. But dude, I don't agree. Like, people are talking about how Robinhood's like a bad company because I get people get a bad taste in their mouth from Robinhood whenever they think of GameStop or something like this. But whenever you start to break down how Cash App actually makes money, it's like highly, highly just instant withdrawals, payday loans. Like, this is not a good, like, healthy. I don't think they're additive to society. Like, there's something like the average customer on their on their platform takes out 50 payday loans per year, which is essentially one per week because they're consistently behind on their payments. Like,
it's sad.
It's sad because those people usually just get exempt from the financial ecosystem. So the fact that Cash App is offering them a platform is to some benefit. But whenever you're talking about them as the S&P 500, adding them in versus Robinhood, I'm just like, man, these are not the same companies.
Yeah.
Like, it's two different leagues here.
I was just confused by why they picked a financial when an energy company got replaced Hess by Chevron for the acquisition. And if they did pick a financial, why Block? And I think that's what all of us have been trying to figure out for the past weekend is just like, why? And I've not heard a single convincing reason other than valuation, which the only sort of internal reason is the S&P 500 wants to make it easier for themselves to like do well. And so they're picking a name that's technically quote unquote cheaper than Robinhood. But to Tanner's point, you're talking about the top 500 companies in the United States of America. Like at this point, it's becoming a joke to me. Like Williams Sonoma is not one of the top 500 companies in the United States of America. Like it's just not objectively. That's just not true. It's nothing against the company, but that's not true. So then for them to pick, I think they have a vendetta against Hood right now. And I honestly, bro, I am losing a little bit of faith that September we get in because to your point, Tanner, why wouldn't they pick IBKR?
No, 100%. Like that's what I don't get. If it's just Robinhood's new, pick IBKR. They're a great company, you know?
Yeah.
And also, why won't they pull a, hey, we don't have to do any rebalance like they did in June? I mean, what if that happens?
Well, when one exits, they have to put somebody else in. They have no choice. So
exactly, they do, but they don't for September.
Yeah, that's they did Datadog, TTD, and Block because a company left, so they had to pick one. But what if in September they're like, we don't need to anymore?
Yeah, I was actually a little surprised they didn't pick VG if they were just like, hey, let's do energy for energy. But you know,
well, clearly they want to change the sector weighting, which is fine.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But
or AppLovin, like it's and it's also not that they're crypto averse because Block, you know, is famously or infamously very closely tied to Bitcoin. They have Coinbase, so it's not crypto. They're not like so much of a Luddite that they have no idea what's going on as far as technology, stablecoin, and crypto. But
I don't even think you can call Block a financial. I mean, whenever it really comes down to it, they're a music platform. They are a Bluetooth messaging app. They have a chip Bitcoin chip manufacturing facility. They have cold storage for Bitcoin. They're the everything app. Like, man,
it's what Dan Schulman was trying to do with PayPal, I think, but less effectively than Block. To give Jack credit, he's made it a chaotic, effusive ecosystem quite effectively, and they also changed their ticker. You know, actually, they changed it 3 times now. So it's just a silly thing. It feels like a company that's trying to discover their identity. Although the core identity for Block is Bitcoin, so I mean, they have that going for them. It's a good thing.
Do you guys think it's the gambling prediction markets on Hood?
I think they have gambling. No, they have gambling companies on S&P 500, like literal gambling companies. So that shouldn't bother.
Yeah, they have Win.
Like if they wanted to, they could get rid of Caesars, which is not profitable. It's the second.
That's the one I was thinking about.
Yeah, and literally they could just put Robinhood in if they think it's gambling. It's not.
They have actual casinos.
Yeah, actual casino with the casino.
Yeah, actual casinos that are way under their market cap limit.
Yeah.
You know, not even remotely eligible.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're a little frustrated.
Yeah, and look, it's okay to be frustrated. If you're a shareholder heavily in a company, part of the purpose of investing is that investing gives you a purpose. And if you're attached to the progress of the company, you have a right to be pissed off. But
does SoFi get in before Hood if they have a vendetta for Hood?
So did you say this on a video recently?
I did.
Okay, my uncle from Singapore calls me up. He was like, "So Tanner said SoFi is getting in before Hood."
I didn't say they're getting in. I said it's now on the table because they clearly don't want these brokerages right now.
So I told him I think it's possible because SoFi is way more stable than a Hood theoretically from a business model perspective, right?
I mean, it is. It's not just theoretically, but I mean, they should get in before Robinhood. They should get in. It should be a year and a half, 2 years. It could be a little bit sooner depending how many slots open up. Great business, but man, I don't know. If Robinhood doesn't get in by this year, I'm like, okay, I don't know what has to change, but obviously they're not letting him in. And the frustrating thing for me is it's not that I'm like, oh man, the S&P 500 needs to pump my bags. I mean, Robinhood keeps hitting all-time highs without any of it. So like, I don't care. I would like that, to be honest, but that I don't really care about that. My main thing is I've come to realize ever since Palantir got in the S&P 500, how significant that moment is for almost all these companies. Now, some don't really care, but especially those that are in the financial world or those that have gone about things in a different way. So both Palantir with the DPO and honestly, SoFi, is one of those two that just because it was a SPAC thing, and Robinhood as well because it's a brokerage. For these three companies, it's a huge, significant deal, and most it is. So I'm sure I doubt that they'd ever say this, but I'm sure that there's at least disappointment in like, why are they not letting us in? What else do we need to execute on? It's confusing.
Well, so a couple things. So one, first of all, your uncle's an absolute G. So that's the first thing. Appreciate you watching. Robinhood, though, or sorry, this is actually what I wanted to say first. Palmer Luckey said that the large contracts that he actually wants to start signing, he doesn't actually believe that a company can get those without being like a publicly regulated business, And I think to take that even further, it not only is good for the stock price to get into the S&P 500, but it adds such a good
vibe.
Just a certificate of your size, of the quality of your business, that if Robinhood eventually ends up getting into institutional clientele, it's just such a badge of honor that could actually help with growth. If you even read some of the articles about Coinbase, whenever it happened, TTD, it was sort of a badge that it is a real part of their business. Datadog, all those ones, there were articles coming out about saying like how they could grow based on them getting into the S&P 500, not just share price, but the actual business.
And those are good businesses too. No complaints with them getting in.
But the biggest companies don't have to get in first. It's not like they're just replacing. So SoFi is not even eligible right now. They have the market cap, but they don't have the weighted average time. I think they need 3 months above 22 points.
That's what I told my uncle is like they still need a couple months of holding.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that Robinhood gets in September. I didn't call for SoFi to get in September. What I'm saying is, does SoFi get in before Robinhood because they maybe don't want Robinhood? And maybe a fully regulated bank with linear growth is exactly what they're looking for.
It could happen.
And somebody said valuation. Valuation is not it. Palantir got in.
Yeah.
It was in the 40s. But if you look at the valuation on the balance sheet, it was a lot more stretched than Robinhood. So valuation is
Tesla
not
got in at a sky high valuation. There's been a whole bunch of companies. That's not what you do. Yeah. Sorry, I cut you off, but that's a strong point.
All right, well, let's get into Q2 earnings. I have my estimates. You both have your estimates. First, let's pull up the street. They raised it from 885 to 913. So the street is expecting a very strong quarter. I know, Tanner, you have a model you can probably share. I will give you my numbers and tell you where I agree or disagree. And Roy, one of you can share. But put in the chat, what do you think they're going to do, at least on revenue? We'll talk EPS later, but revenue, what do you guys think?
I lowered it a little bit.
Oh, really? So 940 was too ambitious, like I've been saying.
No, I'm at 941.
You were above 940?
I was at 947.
Dude, I think you're being too aggressive, bro. I really do.
That's higher. That's higher than I thought. I'm
curious to see how the hell you justify this.
I've got 918. I might be the low one out of us.
I'm at 916.
Okay, yeah.
Realistically, 915. Let's call it 915. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, and there's like this one. I'll say as we preface this, we look at these numbers. Usually, it's a real easy thing to predict because you have like all but 5 days of the numbers, and you can project margin, you can project interest, you can project expenses. We have trade PMR, which we know the run rate, but we don't know like if there's seasonality in that business. We don't know how much they were accelerating over that $50 million. We have a month of Bitstamp as well, a little bit less than a month. And we, again, know the run rate there, but a lot of things can change. So it's just, and there's seasonality with Say Technologies too. So it's the hardest quarter that I remember, looking at the revenue, you guys usually go like way deeper than I do. This time I didn't probably go as deep as Tanner, because Tanner is like, that meme that has the guy with all the charts.
No.
That's you. Because you're brilliant, and Amit, you're probably deeper than I am too, but I've got at least something. Yeah. 918.
Okay. So Tanner, you pull up your model and then Roy and I will take it one by one.
Well, it's not even that crazy. Roy is just the friend that everyone needs, because he's hyping me up like crazy, and I love you for it, Roy. But
no, he's right though. You made it a fancy. I didn't make a fancy model. I have a Google Doc. I don't have
There's no reason to do mine.
Color coded model, bro. I don't have that. So look at this. It's beautiful.
It's just so people could see it. Like you know what section I'm on, so it's easier for you guys to see whenever I'm. I heard from people that I scroll too fast, so I color coded it just so you don't lose track.
Okay, so let's start with transaction revenues first. So
529.
Okay, so let's start breaking it. So first with equity, Roy, what do you have on it? Did you break it down?
Yes. So you want the equity or the transaction?
Just the equity overall revenues.
Let's see. Equity is 65.
I have exactly 65. What do you have, Tanner?
77.
See, no. Where the hell are you getting $11 million from? Like. Okay, we'll get back to that. We'll get back to that later.
Okay, well, no, we can jump into it now.
No. Let's do the whole thing. First,
go into it. But just remember,
we'll go deeper later.
Okay,
options.
Okay.
Roy, what do you have for options?
Let's see, options. 247.
I have 240. Tanner, what do you have? 500? Like, what do you?
246.
Okay, that's reasonable. I'm the lowest out of you guys. Okay, crypto, Roy, what do you have?
164.
I have 155.
167.
Okay.
Amit, I already know where you went wrong. I already know. You didn't calculate for the missing days.
No, I thought I did calculate. I think I'm being less.
Or maybe trade PMR or Bitstamp. You didn't calculate for.
Maybe those I didn't calculate. Okay. Other, what do you? I have 30. I just kept it the same. 35.
So I'll add one thing in
39
under transaction. I'll add two things. Instant withdrawal, I had 33, which is just an average between the previous two quarters. And Bitstamp was 8. And I didn't know if they would put that in there directly with crypto or not. They probably should have. So I would be 172 in crypto if you're just combining those, but they might break it out this quarter. And that was just my prediction based on.
So if they didn't, you would have 44, 43, 45 in other.
Other is 10. So other instant withdrawal is 33.
So others in transaction revenue, you have 33 basically. Okay, I have 35. Tanner, why'd you do what?
It's going to go up because of instant withdrawals.
But why would it go up so much in Q2?
It's constantly going up. It's going up by 4 million.
Well, not every quarter though.
No, but I think it will. We saw a massive increase in customers this time, especially gold customers. So I just added an extra 4 million.
That's not crazy. Okay, 39. Okay, so and then let's just go through interest. And then
by the way, someone said I'm calculating in Canadian dollars, and that's hilarious.
That is, they know us too well.
Okay, let's just run through interest real quick, and then we'll get deeper. So credit card, Roy, what do you have?
13.
I have 15. What do you have, Tanner?
I don't break it down by.
Okay, so what your overall is? What, 331?
331.
Roy, what do you have overall?
294.
I have 303.
Interesting.
Okay, so Roy and I are closer. And then others. Okay, so I did 100.
Before we jump to others, that we might be off on. I'm seeing them get less cash from corporate cash and the interest on cash as well, just because they've used a good chunk of that just for these acquisitions. So that'll begin to tell down.
Okay, so we'll go deeper into
I did lower my, so I do a percentage of assets under custody. This is actually 13%, and this is actually rounding down, but I'm actually doing 12.5%, or sorry, 0.125%. So I lowered it a little bit.
Okay, others, you said 80. Roy, what did you say for others?
107.
Okay, so I said 108. And Roy, correct me if I'm wrong. Last year, Q1 to Q2, they doubled it. So I just assumed the same thing. They're going to double it from 54 to.
So yeah, the breakdown. Well, so I did the breakdown this way. Proxy is 47, and it'll be somewhere around that. It's based on last year's numbers, actually not changing significantly, just a small bit up, just because there's more companies that are public. And I've seen Say Technologies be used by a few other businesses that were not using it last year. So I think that's going up. Sherwood Media is one of those factors that was not here last year. It looks like based on the 10K filing at the end of the year, we should expect around $4 million. It might be $5 million. I was somewhere close to there. I'm like, hey, it's a small amount, so I'll just put 4. Gold is 42, and I did put trade PMR on this just because I think that's where they broke it down. If I'm not mistaken, that's 14.
Okay, that's reasonable.
Yeah, I would have thought that the trade PMR stuff was in net interest, but maybe that doesn't make sense. But if it does, I mean, my total would stay the same. I'd just rotate from net interest to other revenue, which I only put at 80 because of the slight. I didn't do a doubling, more of just like a $25 million add to the quarter because of, say, technologies.
Okay, so Roy and I are the most aligned on others. I think my breakdown is very similar to yours. Tanner, you're at 80. You kind of just take the revenue and put it into net interest.
I think the total will be the same regardless. Whether or not you think it's 100 here and 310 here, I'm still going to get the same number.
But we're still off by 40 million, and I think it's because your net interest is too aggressive as well.
Yeah, but I said yeah. What do you have here? If you have 300 and you have 110 here, we're the same.
Okay, so then so you're more aggressive on transaction, I guess. That's
transactions, which I mean, I can explain this away 100%.
Was it cryptocurrency take rate going up, or?
Yeah, take rate went up, but I don't know how you guys are off on me with the equities. Like the equities is pretty clear, or at least the way that I see it.
How do you get 77 million? Explain to us.
So first, monthly, current trading days, we had 16. There were 4 days outstanding. Okay. So these are the numbers that we did have. And if you just extrapolate out the daily average volumes, these are the numbers that I went off. The June 177.5 billion, 165 million contracts traded, and 8.75 billion in crypto traded.
That's the discrepancy. I have lower on crypto and equity, not options, but crypto and equity, and that's where we differ.
Well, if you think that the daily average is going down, but the math is
okay.
Math is the math. There's 30 days in June.
They didn't give us 4 days in the June month to color, right?
Yeah.
4 trading days.
So you're just taking the average on those 4. Now, my question is, were those 4 days like very weak days towards the end of the month, or you think it doesn't matter?
I don't really remember. I didn't think too much about it. I just kept it current. But are you saying you went into so much detail that you thought that those were weak 4 days?
Kinda. I just felt like it wouldn't be the same type of volumes. But I mean, yours is, you saw, yeah, Roy. I feel like those last few days are not as intense as.
Maybe that's true. I could be off slightly, but then
the volume was up on the 27th. But other than that, yeah.
Another thing is, you guys might be taking the same take rate from last quarters. I did bump it up a little bit on equities because historically it actually is higher, and we've started to see a reversion back last quarter, or sorry, 2 quarters ago, to this 0.14. So I expect a 0.15 eventually as we revert back into some normalcy here, where they're charging a little bit more on equities, especially in like really, really good markets. And then options contracts traded, I kept it the absolute same. And then for crypto, I did 0.58. Or sorry, 0.575. I couldn't decide between 7 and 8.
I don't think it's unreasonable. I mean, if we're wrong about this, it's because you assumed a higher trading volume on those past couple of days, which is not crazy to say at all, to be honest.
Yeah, I think gold is also going to be like a crushing quarter. I think like, I mean, we can jump into operating expenses and EPS here in a second, but overall, we will see.
What do you?
I think we're all hopeful that I'm right.
Do you guys think we're definitely beating 913?
I mean, mine is 5 million over, so it's gonna be close. And again, this is like, for me anyway, the most difficult quarter for Robinhood in a long time. And I've not done this level of detail typically, breaking down all the different sections. But so I wouldn't say I'm confident just because they give us most of the numbers that make it easy. But I'm not, because it's so close within a 1% I'm not confident in my amount because, I mean, it could just be contra revenue comes out more aggressively than we expect, and there's 5 million right there. I had 50, by the way, for contra. I know that's divided within each of those, but
yeah.
No,
I'm
based on promotions.
I think we'll beat 913. I find the funny thing is that the bar has raised so much. I think it was like 890 before. But I'm still very hopeful. Obviously, the numbers that I put in there is what I really believe. So do I think that they will beat 913? Yes, I do. But yeah, I'm not going to just be hopeful that they're higher than what we thought each and every time. But like, we do still need to bring in Bitstamp. I added about 6.5 million for that for the month. So
yeah, at 8. So we're close there. They do have a lower take rate on Bitstamp, so that's going to be really interesting to pay attention to. So part of that is institutions, but from what I understand, the retail take rate is also a little bit lower. So I'm curious if they do what they've done in the States and they start increasing that, or if they just take that hit.
Okay. What about?
One other thing that I thought of too is that they're now owned by Robinhood. So it's like right there on Twitter. It's right there on their website. It's on the app itself as well. So I'm curious if that has any impact as far as the number of users or active users. If people are like, hey, nothing's changed, I'm just going to keep using it the same. If some people be like, ooh, I heard about these guys in GameStop, I'm getting off. Or if they're like, oh man, Robinhood, they have a lot of interesting things, I'm going to use this app. I'm really interested to see how that performs over the next couple of quarters.
Agreed. All right, so I didn't go that far into EPS, but do you guys have estimates on that?
35. Yeah.
Mine was actually 33.
Do you account for any buybacks this quarter?
Yeah. I keep their share count the same each quarter now.
So you think they're going to be buying back 5 million shares, something like that?
I don't know. I didn't calculate it down to $1. I just kept the outstanding share. Like, I'm just completely writing off their sale. What do you call it?
Stock-based comp.
Stock-based comp. Thank you. So I'm just not assuming any stock-based comp and just keeping their shares the same, because that's what they said that they were going to do. They were going to use their buybacks for.
Yeah, it gets harder, of course, the more and more the stock price runs, but I think that they will. They are increasing. They have issued.
Will it get harder?
Yeah.
But is stock-based comp based on a share amount or a dollar amount?
I think it's
a dollar amount. I think
it's usually a dollar amount, but there's vesting, and some of the vesting. We don't know all the details on the vesting, but oftentimes it is tied to performance, which part of that, and actually for a lot of companies, is just share performance. They issued a lot.
Yeah, that could get away from them.
In part of their acquisition through our 4Trade PMR, which they're vested over the next 4 years. So it's not an immediate hit. I'm not worried about it. I'm in companies that have very high SBC. Robinhood was once one of those companies, and now that they're wildly profitable and also have taken measures to reduce SBC, still while being generous to their employees. I think you have the right approach, Tanner. Just assuming share count stays essentially flat, barring an acquisition where they actually dip into that. But I actually really like that they've been using cash for that. I mean, that's honestly what that cash pile should be used, not simply just, hey, let's get some interest off of it. They're using it for marketing. They're using that for acquisitions. And of course, there's a Canadian acquisition that's coming up too, which it's not actually, is it supposed to be finalized next quarter, or this quarter rather?
I just read someone in the comments super early on that just said something in Vancouver just approved the thing. I haven't read this myself, but I saw someone said that British Columbia just approved the thing of WonderFi, the acquisition.
I got it right here. I got it. So
very good.
That's good.
Yeah, I figured it had to be pretty soon. Well, but I didn't know how Canada works.
Your ability to use the internet, by the way, is so much better than mine. Like, it's incredible. He found you found the timestamp of my video where I was talking to Devin Ryan before I could. I was like, don't worry, Amit, I'll find it. And I was like, okay, how am I think it was right here. And he was like, oh, I'll just check the transcripts for 500. Like, just the way you navigate the internet makes more sense than the way I do.
Do you know why though?
Why?
The power of the ontology. It's inside of Amit. He's been following Palantir.
Ontology.
Yeah.
Dude, we'll talk about Google, but I use Google more than I've ever used it because of this AI overview stuff. So we'll talk more about that. But okay, so overall, we think it's going to be good earnings. Here's my question to kind of wrap this up. Stocks run up a lot. A lot of us have made a lot of effing money, just to be quite honest about it, on paper. Are we ready? And I want people in the chat to answer this as well. Are we ready for a 15% haircut if, for whatever reason, the stock takes a 15% dip? Because today people are complaining about a 5% dip, and I'm like, dude, like, come on. So it's like, how do you think people are going to react if it goes down?
I don't know. People. Oh, go ahead.
I would like it to go below 70.
Okay, we don't need to go that low. Okay? You don't need to go that. We got a lot of shares, Roy. That's a lot of money we're going down.
No,
I want cheap shares.
I'm so with Roy. I understand this business. I get it. I'm fully aligned with their mission. If it got a 90% haircut, I would be
relax. Okay, I'm all for the dip.
I'm ready to full port. I get the vision. Like I see it. You know. So whatever they give me, I'm fine with. Whatever it is, it's a discount. Okay. So would you rather buy your shirts 10% off, 20% off, or 90% off? I want to buy the things that I like at the highest discounts.
Yes. But and guys, like I understand, you know, there's traders, there's people that are like, hey, I'm just in this for 6 months. There's nothing wrong with that approach. You know, figure out your goals. But for us as a long-term investor, just think about this. Like, if nothing changes at all with Robinhood and some like silly headline or glitch sends it to $3 a share, would you not be excited? I mean, you'd be mad, scared, and also like, wait, nothing changed. It's just some silly headline. Like, that's not going to happen. But if it did, I would actually take on margin. I would take on margin at that point. I'd have to make sure it's like, it's just a glitch, but nothing has changed. That's like the only time that I'd be taking on it. And I'd be taking it on Robinhood. So.
Realistically, I think max pain is 85 for some reason if the earnings suck. The earnings are not going to suck. They might be Netflix. They might be good.
You just mean after earnings.
Yeah, after earnings, right? Anything could happen in the future. But I think after earnings, 85 which would be a pretty decent discount from here. I would add on that. I don't think we get 70. I don't think we get 65 unless there's a really bad August, September. But I agree with your sentiment, right? I'm just kidding around. Obviously, I would love a dip because I would get to add more to that. It would be annoying to see it go down that much. But what are your realistic targets after earnings if they have a Netflix quarter where it's good, it's not great? You think 85, 80 is back on the table?
Yeah, 89, something like that. Like big, like that was sort of like Q3 last year where they beat their internal targets but missed on Wall Street targets and the market sold them off on it.
Yeah.
But I think the market's pretty excited still about banking and all of these things that are future cross sales that are almost guaranteed revenue, high margin products that they are making zero on right now. In probably the first quarter that they announced that they'll be making millions. That's pretty exciting, offering. So I think people will be pretty focused on the future on this thing. I think it'll be closer to like a Tesla-like quarter where they're like, missed a little bit, but robo-taxi, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, the catalysts are still monster for there's monster level catalysts this year. You got the trading event in Vegas. You have the S&P potential inclusion. You have banking that's coming out soon, and then you have all the other stuff that they probably haven't even told us.
And then you have 3 events next year. You know what I mean? Like that's not confirmed or anything. I'm just saying, like, if they keep up that level of execution, this just happens over again. Like, forget tokenization and pushing the mark there. They're going to push the market in like everywhere. Like I really do agree with like what Devin Ryan said. It's like the market they're in right now is just an endless market. Like there's just more customers galore.
And there's 2 things which the market has no idea how to even price in at all, period. Like they can look at international expansion and TAM and people using new products like futures and those sort of things, banking. They don't understand and they don't get the Robinhood chain. They don't know what that means. Like there's probably a couple of analysts that do, but most people are like, oh, okay. They're used to what they're used to is companies that come out and they promise the moon or they promise something that sounds super cool and they sell them on it and it actually brings no actual real value. Like Apple is case in point. They're amazing at announcements these days, not so good at actually shipping products that are game changers as far as revenue. It's kind of why they're in the funk that they're in. But Robinhood is not that company. They don't just casually mention, oh, yeah, we're going to move our entire business over to the ecosystem, but we're going to allow others to build on chain, on the Robinhood chain itself. And because that's a nothing burger, and it's just something that just, fell out of Vlad's mouth. It's very calculated. It's very intentional. And this is a company that, like, people continuously ask, what's Robinhood's moat? Why can't somebody just do what they do? And there's a lot of ways to answer it, but the easiest answer is just speed. They execute at scale and with excellence better than any other company in fintech. There's some good ones out there. Right? Coinbase is good. You can say Nubank is good. Yeah. So
you could say another name.
I'm not going to, though. I'm not going to use PayPal. So sorry, guys. Keep it up, though. So SoFi is doing better.
You could say another name.
I said it. It's my second largest holding. So yeah. But so that's one of those things. And the other part, real quick, is the access to this ecosystem that we saw with Sage Mortgages partnering with Robinhood. They can spin off so many more of those, especially as their ecosystem grows, in two ways. One is, of course, sheer numbers of people that are willing to pay for a subscription, which is highly meaningful, by the way, for people wanting to partner with you, because they know these aren't just people that signed up for free, whatever. These are paying customers that have money. And they also can see, because of the cohorts, they can also see because of the assets under management, that these people have money. And so as a result, that's a very and increasingly so lucrative pool for customers or partners to tap into. So that's, I don't think, priced in or factored in at all. And that can become immense over time.
Even Block will tell you how important direct deposit users are and everything like this. Like, just wait till that starts to come in. Like, that could be a doubling of their business, I
agree. I think to both your points around execution in the ecosystem, we know where this is headed. If it takes even a 50% haircut, which would be annoying, I think everyone would get a pretty amazing opportunity again, because we know where it's headed in the next 10 years. And for anyone who's feeling scared about earnings, I would say, number one, you have to ask yourself, how exposed do you want to be to Robinhood? Like, I'm not selling a single share because I quite frankly don't care if it goes down. I'd buy more. But if you really aren't that attached to the thesis, then take some off the table. It's not that big of a deal. Number two, this is why I like covered calls, because a lot of my position is covered. So if the stock tanks, I can roll those covered calls down and in and collect even more premium instead of being so far out, because the contract values would start to get to zero if Robinhood really does tank. And at least you get something to offset versus buying puts. And you could also buy puts as well, and you just have to live with it if it goes away. So I think max pain is 85. I don't think we have any justification to get back there given everything they announced, but I also don't think we have to get to 120 just on earnings. But I could see that happening too if they crash.
Can I talk really quickly about Q3? Because I just see a comment in chat. Rock O'Clock says, what percentage of Hood's revenue is in crypto? One, we've seen a lot of movements in cryptocurrency as of late. The actual trading volume has started to resurrect back into what we saw from the high quarters of Q4 and Q1, starting to see some, $200, $300 billion days. Those are great days. But we're in a new environment now. So Ethereum's a really big name right now. There's a lot of traction behind Ethereum. The amount of revenue per Ethereum transaction has gone up quite a lot from Robinhood's perspective now, because let's say you're going to hold on to Ethereum for a little bit before you sell it again, might as well stake it on the exchange, right? So now available to US users, Robinhood can now take your...
Not New York or New Jersey, though.
Well, hey, I mean, I didn't decide to live there.
I found that out.
A studio there.
But I found it on Sunday.
In Toronto.
There's some stupid laws that New York and New Jersey can't stake.
Yeah. Oh, it's great that not only Ethereum can be staked on, and although it's a pain to stake Ethereum, I forgot about that. It'd been a while since I did that. It was brand new to staking when I did it for the first time. It's changed a little bit, but it takes a while, and you can't just sell it. Solana, I bought Solana for the first, well, not for the first time, but for the first time this cycle. And I don't think it's as good or compelling as Bitcoin or Ethereum, and I have less of it as a result. But it broke 200. I don't know if you know that, Tanner, while we were on this stream. So,
Tanner owns it, right? You have Solana.
He is bullish on Solana.
It's the number one cryptocurrency that I hold.
It's wow.
It's actually, sadly to say, because Ethereum has been really in the spotlight, it's Solana, Bitcoin, Ethereum.
Yeah.
So why aren't you more excited about Solana breaking 200?
I mean, it's exciting, but like this is a long. I don't know. It's a long game. I'm going to hit higher highs. Like things.
Are you staking Solana?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so Solana, unlike Ethereum. Well, so Ethereum by design is not deflationary, but it's functionally deflationary just because of the way that the fees work, but the gas fees. Solana is not deflationary, and so part of the offset of that is I think it deflates 3 or 3.5% per year, and but you can stake it. It's a little bit higher off of Robinhood, but Robinhood is 7.15. I think off Robinhood is 9. Is that
for
right?
Solana?
Yeah.
No, it's more like 6.5% off Solana.
So
or at least last time I checked.
What do you say?
Staking is then higher, giving a higher yield on Robinhood.
Oh yeah.
For Solana.
Yeah.
It could be higher. I could check, but
real quick, when you guys stake, that 7%, is that for a year or is that for a 30-day? It's
it's a yearly rate, but you get paid out every 3 days. So, or at least for Solana, you get paid out every 3 days, but it's a fractional.
ADA was like 5, I believe, and Ethereum, I don't remember. But
and then Hood takes 25% of the revenue you get from staking, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so that could be a big Q3 driver, to be honest.
Yeah, it's just a great ad. They take 25%. The rate changes on Sol, so I could be wrong there. It's like 6.5% last time I checked, but it just sits in my account. I don't check it often.
So yeah, for quarter 3, I think that'll be just a really nice ad, and that's going to ramp probably pretty fast. Actually, we need to factor that in for sure for next quarter, especially with the 2 cryptos that you can stake through Robinhood doing just ridiculously well. Ethereum, especially, but also Solana here recently. So.
Yeah, and dude, the Ethereum bull run is very bullish. Hood. Our friend of the channel, Steve, texted me over the weekend. He's finally using Robinhood because the fees on Coinbase were stupid at like $15. On Hood, it's $2.50, $2.50. So, and by the way, I tested buying ETH over the weekend. Anyone complained about spreads? I don't know what Robinhood they're using. But my Ethereum price that I got was $2 off from the current price. And on one of my buys, it was $1 less than the current price. So
it's just because Vlad's your friend. He's pushing those orders through himself, I'm sure.
No, but like seriously, why are we complaining about spreads? Like, go to Robinhood, buy $1 of Ethereum. The spread is perfect. Like,
and there is a spread, but put a limit on it. Like, that's the thing, is some people will do market price, and it just that's like rolling the die. It will be, within a certain range, but yeah.
But even my market price was $1, $2 off. I was like, okay, so this is good.
Amit just gets X. I don't get it, but like, you knew that if you had the Drake song in there, like it was just going to perform better just from you listening to a song and getting the text.
This picture had no intentional Drake exposure. Okay, I just happened to screenshot while I was listening to Drake, and it is what it is.
Lights booked. Sure.
That's how it played out.
You might have been listening to it. You might not have selected the song for it, but you knew. You cropped out the rest of the image. Why'd you keep? You could have just put his thing in. Why'd you keep the song in?
I wasn't thinking that deep, bro. I just wanted to get the post out. That's all.
AK Media.
You cropped your battery out in you cropped the image.
Well, you can't have the entire lock screen. Like, obviously, it needs to be a smaller picture. Why would
It's the ontology, man. It empowers Amit.
He just gets it. I'll make a post. He'll just reach out to me. He'll go, delete that, change that.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. No. The reason I told you to delete that post was you posted at freaking 12 a.m. I was like, Tanner, no one's awake right now. Like,
I'm up.
Okay, but that's not the audience. But
Canadians don't count. Sorry.
Reaching out to my European crew.
Ultimately, on Robinhood, we think it'll be a good quarter. We're ready if the street gets a little upset for whatever reason, and maybe they crush, and maybe we head to 120. But we all think they're going to beat earnings. That's for sure.
140 is going to be a stretch, but honestly, I think Robinhood's going to run on product announcements. We all have our different things, but I don't think they've ran too much on earnings, right? No, we did that one time whenever we did $1 of EPS. That was an exciting one. Did $1 billion in earnings.
No, what'll be interesting too this time, that they, we're part of this too, but they allow a lot of analyst questions, and they've announced and done, and so many things like as far as regulation in the United States and even worldwide has shifted. There's going to be so a lot of companies, they'll have some things that they do and change, and analysts will ask questions about those. But like, I don't know, we could have like 50. We're not going to have 50, but we could have 50 analysts ask questions, and it wouldn't get boring. Like, that's just crazy what they've been doing, and it's not just them. Like, it just and Vlad at the White House. I mean, like, come on.
Yeah, did you guys see that? I mean, that was really cool for Vlad to be there. He did a little small video, but Trump also mentioned him, which was very nice to see the first time Trump mentioned Vlad.
What are the crypto publicly traded stocks right now that people like? If you were to create a crypto portfolio, what would you put in that?
Robinhood, Coinbase, SBET, MicroStrategy.
Real quick, just 10 seconds. This is Vlad in the video.
Building the financial system. Not only that, but it positions the U.S. as the global leader in this new digital assets industry, which I think is incredibly important.
Dude, we didn't talk about the haircut. I feel like that deserves a topic. I mean, bullish or bearish, like.
He even asked. He asked us to vote. As far as the haircut, grow it back or what style. And I'm like, somebody said bald, and I'm like, I don't know about bald, but buzzed. I don't know. I'm kind of curious what that looks like. So, but yeah, I mean,
if
like,
he showed up bald though, people would know he's serious about crypto.
Like Brian Armstrong.
Yeah.
Bro, I think I want to get a short cut like him. Like, I kind of want to.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I might cut all my hair off too. Who knows?
I mean, you guys are both in shape. You guys can pull it off. So me, not so much.
Okay, look at the power stance, by the way. He was.
It is a very power stance.
He was owning that White House.
Yeah.
Hood, Coin, MicroStrategy, SBET, BMNR,
yeah,
and then all the miners, Clean Spark, Marathon, Ride, etc. Those are all your.
Yeah, I don't want the miners though. I literally don't even think they're real businesses.
Dude, Marathon has the most Bitcoin outside of MicroStrategy.
Yeah, I mean, if you hold them, that's a good business. But to the ones mainly before, like the miners were just buying and selling Bitcoin. I just thought it was such a terrible business.
So why are you asking for all the company?
Well, I'm just thinking like Brian Armstrong definitely needed to be there. Hood needed to be there. There's some.
The Circle founder was there. He was there.
Yeah, there's some talk about if Block should potentially be there. That's a semi crypto company. They're a semi everything company though. But like, what are the names now? There used to be so many more names, and then they all kind of got delisted and pulled down together during the last sort of meme run. So I'm wondering, like, are there other exchanges or names? Like Kraken's not there, Gemini's not there. Like, yeah, what are the public names?
Cracked or Backed is one, but
that's a Canadian one, right?
I'm not sure. Bullish, by the way, is looking at doing a IPO, so that's a larger DeFi exchange. So there'll be a bunch of those.
Realistically, it's Vlad and Brian Armstrong. I mean, they're running the game right now.
That's what I feel like. And I think
I agree.
People don't even put Vlad in that name, but he will be.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're putting crypto front and center.
This was not a tourist picture. Did you guys see this? Trump executive order to open $9 trillion U.S. retirement market to Bitcoin and crypto. Which, I mean, previously, if you wanted exposure, you had to do it through possibly an ETF, depending on who you had, or just directly through a miner, which I've done in the past in 2023. But yeah, this is, I don't know, like you have things like this. You have a whole bunch of companies, not a whole bunch, but you have some companies every single quarter, they're like, yeah, we're adding Bitcoin to the balance sheet. You have governments that are, by and large, although some are thinking of selling their Bitcoin stake, they're looking at creating things like strategic reserves. It's just like, man, this is awesome for crypto. It's great to see that regulation is so far pivoted this way. It's really good for Robinhood. So, and Coinbase too, honestly.
Well, I think this administration, along with Paul Atkins, gave a great interview this morning about tokenization. He literally admitted we want to make it easier for companies I think everyone needs to have some crypto exposure over the next 4 years, because this administration is giving you everything you wanted when it comes to crypto.
Yeah. So 100% fart coin is what you're saying?
Probably not Fartcoin, but like, I mean, dude, this is a crypto. There's going to be a crypto. America might become the true leader in crypto. We just got all those 3 pieces of legislation passed on Friday. That was a big deal. So like, it's happening.
Yeah. I for real think that America, and this is from a Canadian, so I'm going to get like whatever, but America is best whenever government steps out of the way and lets private sector just do its thing, you know? And I think that Trump coming into office saying that he was going to deregulate, become the powerhouse of AI, become the powerhouse of crypto, it's like there were so many risks that wasn't going to happen. So the fact that, you know, they are opening up chip sales to China, they are allowing crypto to actually make a foothold in America. Like, these are needed, unbelievable unlocks. And like, whenever the market's so bullish, it's like, I kind of have to look back and be like, yeah, there is so many reasons to be bullish. It's not just a meme rally here. These are unbelievable changes.
Well, that's the question. Do you think the crypto momentum we've seen is an indication of toppiness in this market at all, or it's warranted?
I think it's an indication of insane legal changes and Gary Gensler being gone.
Yeah, and so as far as utility, a lot of people question crypto's utility, which frankly they shouldn't have before. But now with 2 things, with stablecoins beginning to be implemented and integrated, not just in Web3 with crypto, which is largely even still now where they're being used, but used in the real world, and also tokenization. Like, there's so much that can happen with crypto. It's a really exciting time. I think the run, I mean, it's hard to say that the run is justified because crypto does not trade on like, oh, earnings per share. And it's just a different way of evaluating things. But it doesn't feel toppy to me in the crypto market. Now, I do think that there will be a pullback. Pullbacks are healthy. Consolidation is healthy. What typically you see before crypto winter hits is a blow off the top rally. And Solana going up 10% in a day, or some meme coin flying up, that's not a blow off the top rally. Blow off the top rally is also not Bitcoin going up 5%. It's Bitcoin going up like, 50% in 3 weeks. That's a blow off the top rally. That would be exciting, but we don't know how long or when, or even, I guess, technically if crypto winter hit. It will, but it's very clear. Like, there's people that don't believe in crypto. If you don't want exposure, if you're like, hey, it's a pet rock. I mean, there's other ways to invest. You don't have to invest in the asset class. But I agree with you, Amit. I think that not just for retail investors, that has a place in the portfolio, it has a place in mine. It's not a massive place. It's like 3. I increased it, by the way, from when I did my portfolio review. So it's more like 3.5% right now. That's a comfortable weighting for me. But I also think that there's a lot of funds, and there's been a couple of recent interviews on this, guys, that some of you were also involved in, but that funds would be almost irresponsible if they didn't put some measure of crypto, especially if they're allowed to by legislation like this. So it's an intriguing time.
All right, there you go. That's our Q2 preview on Robinhood. I think we'll do like 10 more minutes, just quickly. Tesla, Google this week. We can discuss a little bit about how you guys think about that. Which one pumps? Which one dumps? Do both dump? Do both pump? Tanner, how are you thinking of it?
Well, I think Google pumps. I don't know what Tesla's going to do. I would have assumed that they dumped last earnings, and they didn't. So I'm just surprised by the resilience of the investors on misses. So I don't think that earnings is going to be good by Tesla, but I don't know what the stock does. Google, I think, is an amazing business, and they're going to continue to do well and prove the naysayers wrong. And I'm just happy the 3 of us are bulls on the company. That was mainly just a joke for Roy, because he's maybe not as bullish. But
Roy, are you buying Google before earnings?
Google or Tesla?
Google?
No. No.
Dude, you say it in such a like nice way, but it's also like, what, you think I'm a fucking idiot? I'm gonna buy Google? Like that's the vibe.
He's got the best rich guy laugh ever.
Literally.
I mean, I like Google. Obviously, that's a Pixel right there. I just bought the Pixel 2 pods during the Prime Sale deal.
Pixel, dude. I bought the AirPods. These are the best headphones.
AirPods. So, do you have an iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Yeah, it makes sense to do the AirPods. So that's what I had previously, the first generation, the Pros, and they were great. They lasted forever. It's the only Apple product I owned. Fantastic. They just don't integrate that well with Android. Like, you're missing features. These are just like a huge upgrade. I'm sure they wouldn't work the same way on Apple's ecosystem either, but like just being able to tap and it pauses it, double tap, it skips, triple tap. I forget what that one is. You can slide your finger up or down just on either ear, and it raises or lowers the volume. The active noise canceling actually works. The AirPods worked amazing, but like they haven't worked for 2 years as far.
All right, so buy Google then if the AirPods are so good. Like,
so that's the thing is,
If the AirPods are
47% of the business is great for Google. It's great. 53% is search. And search, it's not that Google's doing a bad thing. It's just the entire model of what they've built on. They've been incredibly successful to a 90% dominance or 89%, whatever, is shifting. And so part of the reason for the valuation of Google, like if that wasn't the case, it should be trading quite a bit higher. But the reality is that is shifting. Even Google themselves knows this. And yes, they will get some of the new volume. They'll actually do very well with Gemini. But I think that there's further down to go for Google. I could be wrong.
Further down to go for Google?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, look where they were recently.
No, but they moved from 150 to 190 in the past month and a half.
Yeah. So I'm not saying further down than that. I'm just saying that they could. There's a scenario that I think is not improbable where they retrace and the market doesn't. That was the problem with the April dip. If people ask me, they're like, well, if you think there's future legs on Google, and I do, like, this is a company that's going to be very good over the long term. Why didn't I buy in April? Well, it's because Robinhood was on sale for like 28 and SoFi was on sale for $9. And I mean, like, what am I supposed to do? I know those companies. But if it's just Google that went down, then I would have bought Google. I would have been a very happy shareholder, but I have limited resources.
Wait, but you think after earnings it dumps? That's your claim?
No, I'm not saying it'll dump. I think that they'll be fine. I think it's maybe 1 quarter too early before we start seeing, or for the market to really understand that search is deteriorating faster than expected. I think that this quarter that we're in, quarter 3, we will actually see that when they report.
So you think it could pump, but then the next 6 months are going to be really iffy on search, and then it has downside, basically.
Yeah, I mean, like the way that people are probably saying in the comments, I've not looked. They're like, oh, but revenue's up for search, and well, it is, for advertising because they're charging more. That model doesn't work very long, especially when there's on the back end. Like if you look at SEO guys, if you look at advertising guys that are banking their business on Google, there's a couple of things that they've noticed, and this is, we've done the Cloudflare talk I think before, how the model is shifting, the number of crawls that it takes to actually generate somebody to look at that. How prevalent AI traffic is, that AI and AI agents access the web in a very different way LLMs do. That's changing everything there. Now, Google says that what they offer then is actually become more valuable, not less, simply because the people that actually put their eyeballs on it, they really want this product. And so it's generating sales. I'm seeing advertisers, and also not as much, businesses aren't very good because they're just niche. So you never really know, but advertisers questioning that. I'm seeing SEO guys being concerned that there are some numbers that Google has made deliberately so more obtuse, that they've begun to hide. And I'm not saying things are nefarious there. It just, they're being selective and careful with what they say, just because they are being disrupted. In the DOJ trial, honestly, where Google practically said, just so hopefully they don't get slapped by the DOJ, that they're being disrupted. I mean, that came out. It's a weird spot for Google. My personal hope, like they have done so much better over the last 18 months than they were doing previously. This is not a business that is asleep anymore. I think Satya Nadella actually succeeded in waking up Google and making them dance according to his music, no matter what Sundar Pichai says. But I would like to have a piece. I just think that there can be a discount. There's other companies that I'm more excited on right now. So like I've got some cash, but I'd rather just allocate in what I have if we get a dip. But that's a cool thing about earnings season and entering it with some cash is there are usually credible companies or even incredible companies that get sold off for stupid, silly reasons. I'm not predicting that for Google here, but there will probably be somebody. And it's like, okay, I would love to see that environment when not every single thing is getting sold off hard, because then it's like, okay, well, I can only buy so much, versus like there's one crown jewel of a company that gets sold off. Highly doubtful Google here, but if it is, man, I will become a happy shareholder.
Google's going to pump, go search, shun the non-believers.
You disagree with everything he said, Tanner?
I don't disagree. I think that, YouTube, cloud, all of those other parts are worth what people are putting the stock at today. And then search is not going to die. Like you said, you're using AI overviews and everything so often, and you're paying for other LLMs and you're not using them as much because Google's serving your use case. So
yeah,
I think their distribution there is being undersold. Like the distribution of Chrome, Android, Google Cloud's network, YouTube. There's not a company. Meta cannot compete with it. Like Google's distribution is insane, and I think the Pixel's getting really good. I'm very excited.
and there's a lot. I mean, like, there's just a lot. There is a lot going right for YouTube, not YouTube, Google. Like, this is one of those Gemini users. Like, Gemini is doing so much better than when they launched Bard, whatever that was. Like, they're woken up. They're doing well. I just think that bulls are underappreciating how fast search is actually deteriorating. And there typically is, even when you have something as good as Gemini is, it's not perfect, but it takes a while to monetize something that people are not used to paying for. And we've seen, as far as, I mean, we've seen this with other LLMs and other type of consumer type businesses, that most of these are not generating profit yet, just because even when they try to sell a $200 model, not a lot of people will pay for that. And these are very expensive to run. Google does have the vertical integration, like you said, that they're very well positioned, but there's going to be some lag. The question is how big the lag is. I'm thinking it's going to be a little bit wider lag than you're expecting. It may be a couple of years. You might be thinking, hey, maybe a quarter. We'll see.
I think if they can, so last year they grew 13.4% Q2 on search. Street has them growing at 9%, but some of the more bullish analysts saying, well, they might do 11%, which closes the gap a little bit. That can get you a higher EPS target for 2026, which is actually materially important for the price at these levels. Number two, didn't they launch like a $200 a month subscription or something at Google I/O? I mean, if Tanner's thesis on all this vertical integration and they have your personalization of your data is correct, I wouldn't mind switching over to pay $200 a month if everything's being run through it. I haven't done it yet, but I don't know. Like, did they get a couple million people, a couple 100,000 people? I mean, if they show a rate of growth that's pretty exciting on that subscription alone, I think the street would get very excited about that.
Yeah, it may be a little bit too early. Like, here's another. This was the one I was actually looking for when I saw the other. I don't think that this is going to be atypical going forward. YouTube, maybe, like, that'll probably fluctuate. There'll be some seasonality, although it's down 1% over the first half. Negative 1.45% on Google. They are, yes, going to Gemini. And so if you like added those two, I'm sure that they're probably up slightly. But Gemini is really not monetized yet. So this is not the trend that you would hope them to see. We'll have to see whether this accelerates, stabilizes, or what. But yeah, the advertisers and SEO people are really uncertain. There's some actually that have been basically doing their whole careers on this for a couple of decades. Like, that's all they know. They've been around, very early in Google and working as far as the advertising, not quite, I guess, a couple of decades, but close to that. And they're like, well, maybe it's time to retire. Maybe it's time to get out and do something else. Like, that's not a good thing.
Okay, Tesla, pump or dump. I think we're going higher. I think we're going higher, baby.
Probably. The expectations are really low. Tesla runs on a narrative. Eli seems locked in right now. And I'm skeptical on whether he can maintain that, for quarters or years. But for days, he can. So, probably higher. I'm not going to play it, not going to bet it. I didn't buy more, unlike you, but I hope it works out a bit. I do own some. Love the company. But yeah, we need wartime Elon that's really focused and locked in, and I'm not confident in this persisting for long.
He did
You
say
bought
over
more
the
Tesla,
weekend.
Elon? Or Amit?
What did you say?
I said you bought more Tesla?
I did. I bought 100 shares, and I can walk through my thesis on it. But Elon did post that he's ready to be a wartime CEO again on Sunday.
Yeah, you can say it though, and
yeah, he look at this. Look at this. He freaking. I agree. I mean, we're gonna have to.
Didn't he say this a month ago too?
Yeah, he did.
Well,
I mean, he does this from time to time.
He said, "Back to working 7 days a week and sleeping in the office if my little kids are away."
22 hours a day, or like what? How many hours?
Yeah, so 7 days a week.
Okay, this music is too cringe. We're not playing this music. But the point is, I mean, do you believe him that he's ready to focus on AI, or you think he's going to go back to America Party in like 2 weeks? I don't know.
I think that he is in too many things, focused in too many things, good at too many things. He can't. I do think he's not trying to lie. I don't think he ever tries to lie. I think he's just overly optimistic on what he can do, and he's overly optimistic on timelines. So, and also the ability for people to change, because that's a hard thing.
Okay, I just real quick. I bought Tesla because number one, I think max pain is 275. If we get there, I'll buy more. I think Elon has said everything you could say to get the stock to tank, and it hasn't tanked. Number two, expectations are low. Everyone knows the earnings are going to suck. It's not going to be some surprise. Last quarter, expectations were low. They still missed expectations, which means they just absolutely had a horrible Q1. Stock was up 5%. Number three, I think robotaxis are expanding. Number four, I think Elon's going to continue to give people the confidence that there is something here in terms of Tesla being the physical manifestation of AI, even if the numbers aren't here yet. Now, that's not a good quantitative reason to buy it, but I don't think there's been a good quantitative reason to buy it in the past 2 years.
Longer,
yeah, longer, right? So it's like theoretically Tesla should be 50, 75, but if we're really looking at maybe lower than that, if we're looking at just like automotive PEs. So I feel like those valuation metrics are just completely irrelevant to Tesla. Now, if they have just a god-awful quarter, like just unbelievably bad quarter, maybe they'll become relevant again. But even if they do, it go to 280, 290? Okay. I think the street's moved on. I think they're ready to take this further. I don't think S&P 7000 happens without Tesla, but I think he has to paint a good picture. And that picture might be a pump to 350 and then a dump back down to 300. That could happen. But I don't think it's going that much lower than 280. At least that's my take on it.
I mean, I agree with you. I mean, it might go a bit lower. Like if it goes below 250, I'll likely buy some, just because my confidence in it going any lower than that is very low. And I think it's an incredible company. It's just there's some headwinds, some caused by Elon, some macro, some political stuff. Of course, the EV tax credit expiring is not great.
But even this real quick, valuation metrics are only relevant until revenue stops growing. Revenue has not been growing for 3 quarters. Why is it worth $1 trillion? Right? Yeah. Like I think there is a deeper level to how the street's valuing it. Go ahead, Roy.
Two qualitative, not quantitative pieces at all. And it's anecdotal. Talked to 2 different people over the last week. One is a mid-60s lady, good friend of mine, who said, she's like, hey, I would love to get a Cybertruck. We're thinking about, well, she didn't quite say thinking, but they were considering getting a Cybertruck, and she really wanted one. I'm like, this is not somebody that you typically think of as a Cybertruck owner, but that's like, I'm like that's really interesting. That's cool. Like, why? And I asked her why, and she's like, well, I just think that they look really cool and they're a neat piece of technology, and I'd like to have that. I'm like, okay. And then the person right next to her, also a friend, somebody I know, they literally, she and her husband went on a demo drive, I believe it was today. And it sounds like that they're very, very likely to buy Tesla. There's another person that I know. I mean, there's just a lot of people that are considering, thinking about, since the deadline of the EV tax credit is relatively soon, we're going to see a massive demand lever pulled forward. And so while they can't guide on it, I do think that there's going to be monthly numbers coming in that shock people. Now, they shouldn't shock them, because, I mean, honestly, if you were thinking about buying a Tesla in the next 3 or 4 years and you can save $7,500 right now, like, you do that. It's a no-brainer. Especially if they have any kind of promotion and everything. So the other piece, which is bearish, is on my wife's Tesla, brand new Tesla. We had the full self-driving trial, hardware stack 4, all of that. It's amazing, full self-driving is, and it's really scary at the same time. It's scary because it's so good that you become complacent and almost, don't pay attention. Like, you have to look, otherwise it beeps you and you can't do it and everything. But Twice for me. Last week, it ran a red light on a left turn arrow, which you can't do. It wasn't a one-way street. So I'm like, man, I don't know. I'm a little bit concerned. Not just FSD will get better; it'll improve. This is the worst it'll ever be, and it's really good. But one little headline for Robotaxi, just doing the wrong thing, doing that, running over some kid's dog, or even worse, man, that could be a massive, massive pull down.
That would be a good dip, though, to buy, right?
I would buy it. Well, it depends what the dip is, but if it's below 250, yeah.
Because these things are inevitable. They will happen. Waymo, they'll make mistakes, but we know where the future is going, right? So also, I didn't mention two things. Covered call premiums are great. So if Tesla does tank, I will continue selling calls on it and collect the premium. Number two, Optimus. I mean, Elon is really not giving us much to get excited about, but what if he does? I think if he does, I don't think the street's valued Optimus at all. That's a very big business that I think can pull forward more demand.
You don't think the market is valuing?
No. So the valuation's aggressive, but no analyst report I've read, not even Kathy or Morgan Stanley, have attributed like a sum of the parts valuation to Optimus. I think Morgan Stanley.
Kathy definitely has.
No, she hasn't. Her bull case.
Her 2030 was all about Optimus.
Nope. Her $2,800 price target has no Optimus.
Yes, it does.
Pull it up. She doesn't.
Yeah, dude, I just read it.
I will bet you.
Because I made a whole video on how she shifted the goalpost from $900 billion a year on Robotaxi to like half of that being Optimus now.
No, dude, her Super Bowl case does not have Optimus.
Well,
while you guys are looking at that wet coal, I'm not hoping that that'll happen. I've seen FSD make mistakes under the newest hardware stack, which isn't shocking. And something that grabs headlines, and I hope it doesn't cost even the life of an animal, but that'll cause a dip.
Look, we assume that Optimus will have minimal impact on our price target.
But that's when was this written? That's 2029. She has a 2030 one out, right?
This is June 2024.
Yeah, go to her new one. That's her old one.
Okay, but if she still expects the thing to get to freaking $2,800 with no Optimus.
No, that's not the thing. Her new report was that she said it's the same price target, like 2,600 or whatever, but she shifted how they get there, and it's all robots now. It's less robots. Like,
how much of the 2,600 was robots?
I don't know. You got to find, but it to be honest, it's just a big joke. Like,
it is a little bit of a joke. Not gonna lie. I thought the recent one that I read, they don't look at Optimus. I can't even find the latest one. I only have
June. Yeah, I'm trying to find it too. I can't find it, but
if anyone has it, you could send it. But look, anyway, regardless, the point is Optimus, I do think will be valuable. I think it'll take time, but if Elon announces a purchase order for 100,000 robots from a company, like what is the street supposed to do with that? They have nowhere to go but higher.
I'm really curious. Do you guys think so? We saw the Tesla restaurant, which is like that's not like people. Some Tesla bulls are like excited about the stock because it's like, guys,
dude, honestly, the cult sometimes just drives me nuts.
I'm part of that
cult. The bathrooms and stuff of this single restaurant, and I'm like, guy, they're like, it's margin accretive. It's $1 trillion company with one restaurant to their name. Like,
wait, hold on. They're making an argument that the burgers are margin accretive.
Yes, I've seen multiple things from huge accounts talking about how it's margin accretive. I'm like,
I think it is.
Okay, that's not why I bought Tesla. So
good.
I don't think it's why they bought Tesla either, but they're just everything has to be a bull case.
Yeah,
and it's like, no, this is a nice to have, but it's not like. If you looked at the numbers, dude, the superchargers barely changed the numbers. The entire network of superchargers barely changed the numbers, let alone one restaurant at one of them. And yes, they're talking about a second one now. Great.
By the way,
they should do with their spare cash. They should become McDonald's, not financiers. What are they called? Franchisees. You'd make more money doing that.
Tanner, I think she deleted it, bro. There's no updated 2030 price target on her website. It has to be on this part of the website.
I remember reading something about she kept the same price target at 2030, and Am I going crazy, guys? Is this like one of those
Mandela effects?
I absolutely remember reading this part last year and her saying that's why I was so confident about this, that they don't take into account Optimus. But I think you're right. They did release a new one, but
like in June.
I don't know. I don't know the answer there. Curious. I'm curious. You guys see these Optimus bots at the event, or we didn't see it live, but the question is, do you think that this is automated, or is this somebody wearing a suit?
I think it's teleprompted, even if it is somewhat automated.
Not a suit, but
the real robot. But like, didn't they do that at the Wii iRobot, or what is it? Wii?
They did, and people were, but like the difference there, at least at the time, is they A, made it well known, B, had people actual voices and everything. Here they didn't have that. So, and if you look at the movements, they're not nearly as precise. So I don't know if I'm just kind of curious what the blend is. Like if it's, maybe it is fully automated. That'd be really cool.
I mean, it does look automated to me, but are these random people that are able to hand it things? Because that I don't believe. That sounds like a safety concern.
Well, they had, you'll see some of the videos, they'll have Tesla plays like right there. And it's kind of like the same idea as like that guy in the front seat for the robotaxis. They're there just in case. So, but I'm curious also, like this could be a setup where it's automated, but there's somebody on the other end ready to take control, kind of like a Waymo model at a moment's notice, just because, these are basically beta units. So,
bro, speaking of robots going crazy, I don't know if you guys saw this video. This is from Wreck Robot. Look at this thing. The robot starts freaking out. The dude's trying to figure out what's going on, but
that's bad.
Dude, that's like, I think that was a malfunction. I don't think that was the robot becoming sentient. Imagine when the robots have a brain and they're like, I'm not going to be a slave to these humans. I'm going to fight back. Like, could you
Well, I don't think that there's a guarantee that happens. I do think
there's obviously no guarantee, but you're saying there's not a chance that happens?
No, probably not. No, but like more realistically, not in this instance, but what could happen, which is one of the reasons why I'd like to get in Cloudflare, or possibly if there's a dip in a credible name for cybersecurity, get in that direction, just because like these bots, Tesla does a very good job of protecting it, but there's a possibility of them being hacked. And so cybersecurity is going to be a major, major vector as LLMs, as AI, as machine learning, as AI agents, and as bots continue to increase. So
you guys don't think the robot could develop a brain of its own and then fight back against this one day?
I don't think so.
I think that is the inevitable endpoint of AGI. Like, otherwise, is it really intelligent if it can't think on its own?
Well, so like the human brain itself is ridiculously complex, and to have, I don't think that in our lifetimes there will ever be a possibility for, if there is AGI, I'm not saying there can't be, but I don't think that it will fit within a bot itself. Now, that doesn't mean that it can't be connected by an internet connection or something like that in and within individual bots, like eventually going out very sci-fi, but that's not the same thing as an entire AGI brain, so to speak, neuroprocessor, whatever we call it, can fit inside one of these units. That level of micronization is not going to happen in our lifetimes. That'd be almost.
I feel like that's going to happen in 30 years, and we're going to have a lot of issues to deal with, bro. Because why are we spending this much on GPUs and compute if we are not building something that is so intelligent that it can teach itself and then teach itself and then train itself and then teach it? Eventually, it gets to the point where it can reason and understand outside of its prompts of being a respectable language model that only does what it's told, right? Like, I feel like that's going to happen. Yeah, or at least there's a really good shot that it becomes so intelligent that it fights back. I think there's actually a really good probability that's going to happen.
What's crazy?
I don't know if everyone believes that. I don't know if Sam Altman's working towards something that's going to fight back.
No, I think a lot of people left Sam Altman because they think he doesn't care enough about stuff like that. I mean, dude, we've already seen with ChatGPT, there's so many stories of like people being in relationships with this thing. Like it's
just doing what you're telling it to do.
I can think of 100 million other reasons why people left Sam Altman, but that's me. Come on a bit.
Took me a second.
$100
million. Big
400 million reasons why, but
yes. Yeah. What's crazy to me though, nothing to do with stocks, tickers, but it is to do with this. Like Isaac Asimov, the three laws of robotics. He had a fourth law as well. Like science fiction writer back in 75 years ago now was thinking of like the future, still very different than what he portrayed, and it was different in a lot of his different books. But just seeing even the need for something that would help preserve humanity in the laws of robotics. And what's really interesting is like that might actually be the model that we have to use. Something very simple, something very clear, and something that protects human life with certain caveats.
I agree. I mean, eventually there's going to need to be a lot of frameworks to figure out how do we govern with robots.
Someone brought up the Gibberlink situation that happened a while back, talking about how that was what Amit is describing. But to my understanding, and I didn't read up about it too much, but they just changed languages that they were talking in. There was no rise up and fight back. They just spoke in a language that was more efficient than English. That for two AIs to talk to each other. That's my understanding of what happened.
Yeah, that's. And I think that'll increasingly do in that direction, which is cool and scary at the same time. And like, what reality are we in? Like, so we have AI becoming real, robotics, AGI feels like it definitely might happen. eVTOLs are starting to take off the ground, pun intended there. Stable coins, cryptocurrency. And then you have like Colossus Biosciences, like, hey, let's bring back the dire wolf, the woolly mammoth. It's like, am I dreaming? Like, did I read too many science fiction books? Like, what happened here?
It's going to be very cool going forward. I think like legitimately we are living in a world that we read as science fiction, and that might have some scary endings in some of them. But hey, we're here, and I don't know. We're not going to change reality, so let's try to like enjoy the best parts of it, and that's sort of how I say it. Like I am a ant on the shoulders of giants here. I don't get to choose what Sam Altman does with my future. He just gets to decide. Okay, so I'm just gonna bet on the companies that'll win and maybe get a ticket to Mars before this place blows up.
If we get the private equity tokenized, maybe we can. Okay, maybe we can't.
Yeah, you just need to buy 51%, and then you could say,
there we go.
And even then, Microsoft's having a hard time controlling what's going on over there.
Dude, Sam Altman's, he doesn't want anyone messing with him. It's pretty incredible. All right, last question, just real quick for everybody. Thank you all for being here again. Another episode. Figma, you guys buying the IPO or no?
No.
I don't buy IPOs.
Okay, I'll probably make a request for like maybe 20 shares. I don't know if Robin is going to give it to me, but it's going to be heavily subscribed. Real quick stats on Figma: profitable, $1 billion in cash, $16 billion valuation. Almost got bought out for Adobe for $20 billion a couple years ago. Regulators in the EU stopped it, and they're growing 47% year over year. I think it's a great business. I think it will be heavily oversubscribed, and it's probably going to get to like 30 or 40 billion on day one.
It's possible, and its IPOs have done well in well-positioned companies that are interesting, that are growing in future directions. So yeah, I think like this, it's one that I actually thought about breaking my own rules and saying, but I'm like, this isn't the company that I would want to do that with, because I don't understand all what's going on in that sphere well enough. So I'm like,
yeah,
I'll let other people do it. Usually I don't touch IPO companies till at least 3 months after they've IPO'd, usually 6 months, depending on a lot of factors, including warrants. But yeah, it's fun. I love having companies like this in the market. Good for Robinhood too.
Yeah, I was just about to say, first of all, I would be buying it to like dump it a couple hours later if it pumps. So that's the only reason I don't really want to make an investment in this. But speaking of that, we actually do have to talk about this real quick. Open Door, almost 2 billion shares traded today, 1.9 million options traded. This has got to be good for Robinhood, because I would imagine a lot of this is happening on Hood.
Yeah. It's, I mean, having that kind of volume, it's just ridiculous. Especially, I don't know how long that lasts, but typically until we get a pretty good pullback, you're going to see that go from ticker to ticker. That might last, a number of days. And open, we saw a little pump after hours for Grab. Congratulations. And we'll see if retail grabs a hold of that and it goes up to 10 or 12 in a hurry. That's awesome if it does. Congratulations. Or if it's just institutions buying it up, and maybe like, we don't know. We won't know, for maybe weeks. But there, until we get that big pullback, I think there's going to be a lot of, and we saw this earlier, with meme mania like 6 months ago. I think we might be in that season for a little while. Usually that lasts days, if not weeks, and then it just kind of gets over all at once. It gets real fun when you post things like, hey, I think this company will go up 40% this year. And people are like, oh, that's a waste of time then. So thanks for letting me know. That's when you know, like, okay, things are a little bit too heated.
Yeah. There's going to be more of these names that pop up in popularity, but I think regardless, for people that are facing this sort of FOMO and wondering if they should have got into these names or whatever, if you don't know anything about the company, if you don't know the name of the CEO, if you don't know what differentiates them versus their competitors, do not buy this.
Unless you're a trader. Yeah. If you're holding it long-term, like, I don't think the long-term thesis is there. If you disagree, buy it, hold it, great. Don't.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not worth the investment. Some people might spot an opportunity that I'm not that I can't even see, that I'm frankly not even looking for. Like,
yeah,
I'm not even looking at this business anymore. But from my understanding, it's extremely low margin. From the people that I've seen that have purchased or looked through Open Door properties, that they do shoddy work, and I'm not a fan of those sort of things. So I'm a long-term investor, and to me, this is a different style of investor that's taking advantage of the volatility here. I just think that there's also going to be some pretty sophisticated traders in here that are going to use your capital in fun ways if you're new to markets.
They also dumped from 497 to 280 in what looked like literal seconds. So
yeah, there you go.
And maybe maybe it gets back there tomorrow easily. By the way, the $9 strikes have opened up on the option chain for Open Door. So, I mean, you're going to get people that buy these out the money calls. But the point is, if you have some fun money that you don't mind losing, sure. Yeah. As a real investment, if you believe in the thesis, sure. But if you're just trying to time the exit and entry, it's just tough, bro. It's not the easiest thing.
I love the idea of Open Door too. I like the idea of going after a massive total addressable market and redefining an old guard type thing.
Oh yeah. That's the thing is sometimes this type of I think it's going to be a failed business. I could be wrong, but leadership culture is not there. The actual product I've tried when we bought our house here in Houston, we looked at the number of Open Door. And it was great as far as appointments, being able to walk in, going without a realtor agent and everything. Some of the aspects are great. The work was really shoddy. Some of the things that were done were pretty sketchy at the time. I think this business will fail, but I do think that this is a space that is ripe for disruption. And so this is going to be one of those scenarios where I'm like, Teladoc, to me, I invested very briefly in Teladoc and the thesis changed. So I got out, lost a little bit of money, not much. And that prevented me from looking at HIMS for a long time, just because I'm like, same business style. Well, it's not. And the same opportunity was there, just waiting for somebody that could actually execute and deliver. And I think that that's HIMS. So whatever the next Open Door is, I'm just saying, if you guys are like, oh, Open Door, junk business and everything, don't write off this idea. I think it's a fantastic idea, but it's got to be done by a better company that, doesn't take ridiculous risks like Open Door did.
By the way, Kathy bought 4 million shares of BMNR today.
Yeah.
She's in the ETH treasuries as well.
Yeah, that's exciting. I'm not even anti the ETH treasuries, to be honest. I think Ethereum is probably going to be a safer, easier bet for me, but I'm a believer in the technology. And if people want to buy a leveraged version of that, I think that's I don't even hate it as much as I hate other trades that people make.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, folks, that's it for us. Thank you all for being here. We'll be back next Monday. Next week will be the actual week of earnings on Wednesday. So we'll just cover, again, we went through our numbers today, but we'll cover some broader expectations going into earnings next week. And yeah, we will keep going from there. Tesla and Google this week. Next week, we got a bunch of big tech earnings, and then we get to see if the market momentum sustains itself based on how Q2 delivers.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Bye, everybody. See you guys next week.